When Joe Merrick's journals were exhumed, a most anachronistic item was found, filed away with the 1886 memoir. A War of the Worlds first edition hardback, showing no signs of wear, as though it had never been read. Perplexed by the discovery of a novel not due to be published for over a decade, the team began painstakingly combing through the diaries, eventually landing upon an explanation they could not quite believe. The Gunpowder Paradox. Part 1. 'Twas Marston's annual sober day, and, thanks to this rare 24 hours of lucidity, he'd been catching up on important news stories that had gone unnoticed during the previous 364-day binge. Already was he elated to discover that 24 Christians were burned to death in Uganda. Dismayed to find out that China had taken over the British protectorate of Burma, though he was cagey as to why it meant so much to him. And he was thoroughly nonplussed about Lord Salisbury forming a new government.
What did he form it from?
MPs.
Is that an abbreviation for monstrous palaces?
No. Well...
Marston's hand hovered over the piles of periodicals, mere millimeters away from an article that was bound to elicit a most unfavorable response. Bracing myself for what was to be an agonizing exchange as his fingers ran along the headline. It's the only way he could read.
They've started burning the dead! Did you hear about this?
I tried to warn you about that particular story, but instead was subjected to your blabbering for 2 hours about the tennis court.
You seemed quite enthused by the conversation.
Mrs. T held a picture of a sandwich above your shoulder the entire time.
Was it a nice one?
Not particularly. The type of painting that conjures up the image in one's mind of a sarnie somewhere out in the world becoming more visibly delicious by the day.
It could be a most riveting read. Lunch becomes tastier as the mural turns ever more to mould. The portrait of the croque monsieur.
Sounds like some half-cocked prose Oscar would spit up between bottles.
Knowing him, he'll be full-cocked.
What exactly is a croque monsieur?
It's a most marvellous treat I sampled during my last visit to Paris. Very new. Ham, gruyere, and bechamel sauce between 2 thick slices of pain de main, then covered in grated cheese and fried.
Less a snack and more impacted bowel.
Enough of this conversational derailment. They've started burning the dead. No one wants to be reduced to ash and poured into the gutter. And you can't taxiderm dust.
You can still display an urn.
An urn doesn't scare children when placed in a darkened room at the correct angle.
What if it's shaped like a demon?
Children love demons. They have the far more interesting book collections.
Why has this gotten you in such an uproar?
They'll do away with the Sunday hanging and replace the scaffold with a big bloody bastard bonfire. The Sunday hanging is a tradition. Click, drop, snap, cheer, pub, drink, lunch, smoke, drink, pies, whores, drink, smoke, pies, drink, smoke, drink, crisps, eels, smoke, drink, whores, hope. That's the tradition. If they change it to cremation, we'd be standing there for hours, bored stiffer than a rigged cadaver as they simply fling the corpses into the flames. You know how I get when I'm bored.
All too well.
Whoosh.
This limp isn't due to my deformity, as you know.
Everywhere would be closed by the time the bastard is scoopable.
This old burg is running low on available burial space.
What about the brilliant idea I put forth? Vertical graveyard.
Coffin stacked 50 high along Regent Street was considered unworkable, due not only to the appalling smell that 35,000 rotting corpses would generate, but because not everyone is affluent enough to be buried in a casket. There are a great many who couldn't even afford a catafalque.
Can you hear that? I swear it sounds like an egg whiz.
attached to a windmill.
Being powered by a steam engine.
Mrs. T, what are you doing in the basement?
Making another batch of family stew.
Just on the stovetop.
Right, you're on, Mr. Merrick.
And dare I ask where you found this meat?
I found one.
Delancey Street.
Wasn't that the last crime scene we visited?
I believe so. Double murder. One of the corpses missing a foot and both kidneys.
Didn't Mrs. T arrive shortly before?
Wanted to deliver a pie to Detective Higgins. Are you going to have the talk with her about not pilfering things from active crime scenes?
Again? I've had to explain the rules to her 4 times now.
The woman's an absolute softhead.
The thing is, I've seen her typing away when she thinks no one is watching. We don't file that much paperwork.
We don't file any paperwork.
So, what is she typing?
I did find a slice of paper left in the typewriter a year or so ago with just one word on it. Fauntleroy. I thought it might be a special name for one of their pie fillings.
Mrs. T is obviously more than she appears.
An investigation for another day.
Standing in the doorway was a man with an overly pompous expression and posture that brought forth images of elderly toads, croaking their last as they journeyed to the great lily pond in the hereafter.
Good day, gentlemen.
Good day to you, sir. And how may we be of assistance?
Can either of you peons direct me to a locale where a wearied traveller can drink a fine ale and play some gaudy fairground amusement?
Who do you think you're calling peons, you squat, thin-haired, mashed potato-faced twerp?
The both of you. The most otiose detectives in the borough of Tower Hamlets. Possibly all of London.
I'll have you know we've solved 15 cases since opening this office.
Should that not be 16? We did just now solve the mystery of the missing foot and kidneys.
16 cases. Really hard ones, too.
Well, that last one was a touch easier than most.
Don't undermine me in front of... Who the bloody hell are you?
I am H.G. Wells.
Who?
Who?
That's right. I'm not published yet. I am a traveller through time and space who
Do
has...
you mean outer space or just physical space, like around the country?
outer space.
Ooh, what's that like?
Colder than a witch's tit.
Blimey. How cold is that in Celsius?
Minus 270.
Jacket, scarf, hat, and gloves weather.
Are you going to move that shoddy vehicle currently blocking the entrance to our place of business anytime soon?
I left enough room for people to walk around it. And it's not shoddy.
Bloody well is. That rickety thing resembles a half-built clipper ship.
The sails of which are, for some reason, festooned with whisks.
That was hastily constructed by a quadriplegic workhouse orphan.
Who was also blind.
Fantastic capper insult, Joey boy.
Thank you, old chap.
It took me years to design and engineer.
What even is it? A contraption for automating breakfast?
No, it is my time machine. The Septimus Brown. It can take you anywhere from the birth of creation right up
That's
to...
a terrible name for a time machine.
Yeah, it sounds more like a polite term for the bubonic shits.
Well, what would you have named it if 'twere yours?
The chronological displacer?
The horseless infinity engine?
The incredibly strong ale at the King's Head?
What, pray tell, makes you consider that a worthy name for my vehicle?
Spoken like a man who has never tried the stuff.
In all honesty, you could label the machine with such a moniker if the damn thing was able only to propel you uncontrollably forward in time, leaving you devoid of recollection,
All of your coin, most of your clothes.
and stranded in Redbridge.
God, yes, that's where Mrs. T found us. How did we even get to Redbridge?
This incredibly strong ale sounds most appealing, as I am sure it will make conversing with the two of you tadpoles infinitesimally more bearable.
Let's head over there now.
Have you forgotten what day it is?
Entertaining guests supersedes sober day.
Wonderful.
And what of my desire for amusements?
Are you contemplating the same as I, Joey boy?
Oh, did she? We'll swing by the King's en route, purchase a few ales to take away, then venture back after some old-fashioned ditchy fun.
Champion idea, old boy. Will you do the honors regarding travel?
It would be my pleasure. Hackney!
Have your destination, sir?
The King's Head Tavern on the corner of Chancery Lane and Fleet Street, and on to Old Ditchy.
I do hope they fix the archery booth. Just isn't the same if the targets aren't hanging from the necks of disgraced former chancellors.
After several ales and a dozen gin and tonics, large ones, we arrived at the gates to Old Ditchy, filled to the brim with enthusiasm. Wells was also filled to the brim with urine. While he may have been an expert navigator of the time streams, holding in piss streams appeared quite an effort for the man. I shuddered to think of just how high a volume of water waste had simply been expunged off the starboard side of the Septimus Brown, directly into the past, present, or future. Sam, the proprietor of Shoreditch Funfair, had reached a special arrangement with the agency a year previous when he came to us with a most unusual case. It seemed that some ne'er-do-well had been able, numerous times, to leave a hidden defecation about the person of his prized statue of Napoleon. Once being so bold as to bring a pre-dried deuce, which was slipped into the sculptor's hand betwixt his fingers, so as to resemble a cigar. Even after hiring a team of guards to stand watch 24 hours a day, still the turds would appear. It was as if the culprit were in possession of an invisibility cloak. Or an enchanted sphincter. The solution for me was to pose in place of the likeness in order to catch this scallywag in the act. I dared not ask Marston if we could take it in turns, as the ruse would have been destroyed within seconds. Hands shakier than an orange girl in the presence of a monarch. With a similar jacket across my shoulders and an astonishingly lifelike carved wood face mask pinned to my bag, all that was now required was patience. I assured Sam that soon enough we would catch the criminal red-handed. More like brown-fingered, he interjected. Lovely man is Sam, though not blessed with even an ounce of refinement. Raw and rough like fresh coal. Don't let him hear you describe him as such, though. He's frightfully racist. For 2 full days I stood in place, even when a kit of pigeons decided my stationary frame, above all others in the borough, was the perfect perch from which to pinch off a few poos. I moved not a muscle. An 11-year-old German boy named Johannes was eventually revealed as the chancer delivering the speciality Cubans. When pressed for an answer as to why he kept doing this, and how he was able to avoid detection, he replied, in broken English, that he had observed the changing of the guard, and knew when exactly he would be granted a window of only a few minutes, during which he could deposit the artistic statement. Johannes firmly believed old Bonaparte to be a dunce, and his war-losing strategies to be total shit. I attempted to argue with his parents over who would be paying the cleaning bill for my now droppings-drenched jacket. But, having no grasp of their ugly language, I gave up trying to reason with them, opting instead to crudely draw the German flag on the back of the garment, tie it to a stick, set it on fire, and begin waving it wildly in front of them. Fucking Teutons. In awe of our sleuthing skills and hatred of Germans, Sam gave us a VIP pass to the fair, which allowed us up to 5 free games per visit, knowing full well we'd probably spend more due to his kind gesture, as that wouldn't be enough to quell our thirst for blood-curdling screams. What Sam lacked in civility, he more than recouped with his keen business acumen.
Penny for the guy.
Bit early for that, aren't we? It's September.
And I have to say, that costume is in very poor taste.
If Marston, of all people, is chastising you for a lack of sensitivity, you may consider amending your attire.
Or just drowning yourself in the Thames?
You're gonna thoroughly enjoy this place, HG.
Did I see someone dressed as Jesus being hit over the head with a hunk of meat as we entered?
You most certainly did. A recent addition to the roster.
Oh yes. Look, the Lamb of God with a leg of lamb. Brilliant game.
As we approached Tear the Tooth from the Terriot, Marston caught sight of a poster and ambled towards it. Transfixed.
Those captivating women.
A trifle cleaner than the dames you tend to favour.
Thoughts exactly. Respectable, elegant, and they've clearly washed at least once in the last 30 days. Nothing like those burlesque dancers at all. The sort of woman you could be proud taking home to meet your family, safe in the knowledge that she won't climb atop the table and dance provocatively between courses for change.
He stood mesmerized by the images before him, wearing much the same hypnotized expression as when gazing upon a loaded crack pipe.
What did the words say? I'm too drunk to lift my arms to read.
Dorothy, coming soon to the Gaiety Theatre, featuring the Gaiety Girls Troupe.
The Gaiety Girl.
These Gaiety girls will lead him most assuredly to trouble. I took mental note to observe and document his actions whilst ushering them in the direction of the booth. Here, step right up. Come on, gents. Pull the pearl from the swine.
Can you explain this particular game, please, poor person?
It's a feat of strength in which the player is tasked with yanking the single white tooth from the mouth of a vagrant with a pair of oversized and excessively rusted pliers.
So you just extract it?
Yep.
Well, there can't be much skill to a game like that. It just sounds like torture.
Ever since the institution of the Judicial Torture Act of 1640, such games are commonplace.
All torture within a sanctioned location is legal.
That is deplorable, intolerable, unconscionable. Love it. How much per go?
It depends on how many of Mr. Merrick's free games are left.
5 left on the punch card.
Go on.
Come on, old chap. Give it up.
Put your foot on his chest.
Lead into it. Use your considerable weight.
Brilliant. Bloody good fun, eh, what?
You're going to shit from sheer delight, for our next game is...
Do tell. Don't keep a time traveler in suspended animation.
Feed farthings to the infirm until they suffocate.
Might be a touch tricky for me. Don't carry cash.
Never fear.
No, he seldom leaves the office without ample asphyxiation, has he?
What in blazes was that heinous cacophony?
Why, that was the chime of Big Ben.
Has it always sounded like that?
And for as long as I've been living, it has.
Curious. It was then I noticed the tried shaman was wearing around his neck the artifact I required, an emerald that had been whittled so as to resemble Bunty, the gaseous deity who created the universe.
Did you barter with them and secure your prize?
Barter? Bunty, no. Pierced his perineum with the sharp point atop my parasol, pilfered the prize pendant, promised I would return promptly, as it was paramount I put some pennies and pounds in the parking meter, and did a runner.
Like a true Brit. Whatever did you do next?
Delivered it back to the Church of the Amorphous Cloud and was ordained as leader of the religion. And that's how I became Grand First Noctilucent of the Buntyite.
Stole their religion out from under them. Stellar work!
I think you mean interstellar work.
Did you enjoy your tenure in such a lofty position?
I scarpered that afternoon. My second in command explained to me what occurred during their Wednesday prayer meeting. First, they would all consume a large amount of a vegetable called whoop, which was not unlike an earth cabbage. Then the entire congregation of around 4,000 would lock themselves in a sealed chamber and begin breaking wind.
You did make mention that these aliens were only 2 feet tall. How bad could it possibly have been?
They're in possession of 7 anuses per.
How did you manage to escape this most sulphurous of fate?
Told them I was allergic to food and that I needed to rush home as I'd left the gas on. And then I...
Did a runner?
Yes, how did you know?
Educated guess based on your previous 5 stories.
For a man with such a leisurely gait, you do an awful lot of running.
Are you only able to quicken your pace when there's a sign that you might actually have to put some effort in?
Of course. I'm a fucking writer, you muttonheads.
I ordered it last week during our investigation into the case of that new pub which had recently opened. The Ed claimed was selling brilliant sausage rolls.
Well, I ordered one after we solved the case of the mysterious hangover that happened after we only had 3 pints in Stepney, and you claimed we got spiked. So we went back to question the landlord and test the drinks, whereupon we were invited to a lock-in, during which we consumed 12 pints, 4 dozen gins, and a bitter lemon shandy.
You're forgetting when I ordered one during the case of the drowned magistrate, whose wife we were sure had done it, but who turned out was innocent. A fact we only discovered after she was accidentally run over by our hackney. That was an actual case. Should we stop calling our piss-ups cases in order to claim them as business expenses?
Never! Let the man cover the cost of our drinks.
But we pay the expense account. We are the man.
Are you sure about that?
It's why we never have any bloody money. Hackney!
Have your destination, sir?
Elephant's Eye office. 123 Whitechapel Road.
I wonder if Mrs. T left any of those family pies. I'm famished.
Like fuck she did. Higgins and Griggs has no doubt eaten the whole baker's dozen.
Typical.
All this movement is making me feel rather unwell.
You can't feel unwells. You are wells.
Not unwells. Unwell.
You're pissed, aren't you, Herbert?
I'm Wells.
Keep the change, driver.
And the vagrant's tooth.
That's your tip.
Thank you, Mr. Merrick.
Wait. Wells worked quite hard for that tooth. Okay. Driver, would you mind swapping for a child's toe?
In what condition is this toe?
Slightly putrid. Acceptable? Splendid. Everything all right, old boy?
Yes. No. He won't fit.
Give it here.
Shut your noise. I'm not drunk. Can do it perfectly. There's a knack to it. Push the key in. Out very slightly. And... bloody buggering blasted.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker. Oh, fuck's sake. Marston,
Yes?
this is a pickled thumb.
Does it have a tattoo on it?
Yep.
Evidence. Case of the illustrated pickpocket.
Does that mean
Probably.
your key is
Almost definitely.
locked in
Police station evidence room.
you stupid
Bastard?
Yes. Locked out. Mrs. T will be home by now.
Where does she live?
South of the river.
What's so bad about that?
Have you ever been south of the river? Families with one tooth between 20. Rats bigger than beef eaters. People
Oh,
being
bollocks.
civil
He's off
to
on
each
another
other.
rant about Lewis.
Shoes made out of babies. Babies made out of sausage meat. Sausage meat made out of shoes. Packs of wild dogs roaming the streets begging for change. There are poor people everywhere, and they're all laughing.
Worry not.
What do they have to be happy about? It's a fucking nightmare wrapped in a towel made of slugs that's been stuffed inside a horse and set on fire.
Gazebo.
Marvellous work, HG.
I visited a great many I fitted a great many things into the the time vehicle.
What about drinks?
Have no fear. Hang on. Someone's been at the Scotch.
What's this note here?
You erased my memory and left me to rot in the 19th century, you bastard. By happenstance, I discovered your machine parked outside a bestiary. The sight of it jump-started my restoration subroutine. Leaving your precious toy unattended was most unwise, and I decided to both have revenge on you and complete my mission. We must take to the skies. I need to confirm a suspicion which began nesting in my skull during the afternoon.
Steady on, old boy. Should you be flying in your state?
Which of us is a time traveller?
If you genuinely want to become embroiled in the debate that we are all, in fact, time travellers, though the majority of us are only moving forward,
What is that hideous excuse for a structure?
now you're just being a dick.
Answer my question, detectives.
That's the Houses of Parliament.
Impossible. They bear no resemblance to the Houses of Parliament. Alternative timelines do exist. Why did Marston take such umbrage with the fellow dressed as Guy Fawkes?
Fucking hell, Herbert. You spent too many hours pissing into the past, haven't you?
Tell me.
Guy Fawkes was a nefarious terrorist leader of the Gunpowder plot. He blew up the Houses of Parliament.
But Fawkes was caught before setting off the explosives.
Well, you're wrong on this count, HG.
Seldom am I wrong. Predicted the Second World War.
Second World War?
What happened to the first one? Did they not bother staging things chronologically in the future?
Let us return to your office and I'll spin the yarn of the two world wars and explain where this superfluous corpse originated.
But how do we get in?
Leave that to me. Right on time. As always.
Look at that dashing fella. You read our mind.
Oh God, the last thing anyone needs are two narcissistic, time-travelling drug addicts in the same place at the same bloody time, fawning over each other. Get on with it. Give yourself the key, HG.
Here's the key. Splendid work, HG. Thank you kindly, HG. Do you have any advice for us?
Nope.
But being for the best that the pair of you pour out some very large drinks, this tale will, in all likelihood, drive you both to gurgling madness.
My leathery hide will protect me, and Marston's already utterly insane. He's truthfully not been quite himself since smoking the sissy dry of opium in order to flush out Sherlock.
Jumped up little shit thinks he's an addict. Qu'elles ne se sont pas si mêlées maintenant qu'elles ont tête en front des zeppelins en ferme dans son clos.
When did you learn French, Marston?
Qui est le maire Marston? Je suis Napoleon. The Gunpowder Paradox. Part 1. Written, produced, and arranged by Kurt Howard. Horatio Fife as the narrator. Reginald Herlick as Joe Merrick. Kenneth Bonejangles as Marston. James Miranda Barry as Mrs. T. Ezreal Tongue as the boothman. Ignatius Bloomers McSweetwater as the hackney carriage driver. And H.G. Wells as himself. An Elephantidae production.